Hello and welcome, everyone. So glad to have you here. Many of you submitted questions when you registered. I think we've done a good job of building that information in. And of course, you're invited to continue asking questions all the way through. You can put them in the chat box, in the question box, whatever you want, and I will work on making sure I monitor that and respond to any additional questions. One other thing for you, since you have invested your time in checking us out, we want to give back to you. So I've got something for you at the end of the call. In the meantime, diving into the conversation for today, the game plan right now, and of course we can adjust based on what you want. Our agenda is to define coaching and the journey to becoming a coach. We'll talk statistics and insights around coaching, walk you through the Center for Coaching Certification Staircase to Success coaching model and process. We'll talk about the pros and cons of certification, because as much as I want to say it's all pros, I get it. There are cons too. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about reasons people choose certification with the Center for Coaching Certification, what to look for in a training program wherever you go. And of course, we want you joining us, and we get it. You're checking out different options. We'll talk about opportunities for you as a coach, and we'll do a good overview of the programs. Sometimes I find at the end of the conversation, people are interested in going to the website and navigating. So if you have those questions, we can do that at the end too. All right, getting started. The definition of coaching. This comes from the International Coaching Federation. And yes, several people had questions there. So we will be covering that information on ICF, International Coaching Federation, starting with the definition. And the word choice here is so significant. It says coaching is partnering. That word partnering is very intentional. When you think about hiring a professional, whether it's an attorney, a financial planner, a counselor or therapist, whatever it is, you see them as the expert. And when you hire that professional for whatever services you're looking for, they're on a higher level, on a pedestal, if you will. They're the ones with the answer. In coaching, it's different because the coach is not there as the expert. The coach is there as your partner. It goes on to say, in a thought-provoking and creative process, what the coach is going to bring to the table when they're well-trained is the process. That is their area of expertise, what they offer, that coaching process. And it describes it. It says that inspires them, being the client, to recognize and maximize their personal and professional potential. The coach is there supporting that individual, their advanced level of development, so that they maximize what they achieve and what their potential is. It's a very exciting process. Okay. Moving forward, the International Coaching Federation, this is where you had several questions. So first off, it is a nonprofit. It is a professional membership organization. It is the gold standard in the coaching profession. And what do we mean when we say that? Very specifically, this is where the code of ethics comes from. Members of the International Coaching Federation are held accountable to that code of ethics. They also are where we have our standards. They accredit coach training programs. And we'll get into this again later. The single most important thing you want to look for is to make sure it's accredited by the International Coaching Federation. They also have standards for membership and for credentialing. And those standards on credentialing were where many of you had some of those questions. So we're going to explore that and take a look. On this infographic, you can see to become a member of the International Coaching Federation requires 60 hours of coach-specific training. To earn the ACC credential, in addition to the training hours, you must also log 100 hours of experience coaching clients. You work with a mentor coach for 10 hours, and there's very specific parameters around that, what happens, how it works. You are going to be assessed on a recording of you coaching one of your clients. And then there's an exam you take with ICF. For the PCC credential, there's additional training hours. So yes, the 60 hours are part of it. You need 65 more hours so that you have 125 hours, additional hours of experience so that you have 500 hours. The mentor coaching is going to be the same process. In the PCC level, you have 2 recordings of you coaching a client that must be assessed and pass at that level. And then there's another exam. That exam is harder than the exam at the ACC level. So these are the parameters in terms of the different levels. What you're probably seeing for the MCC level is you're actually required to get your PCC first and hold it for 3 years before you're even allowed to pursue the MCC. To give you an analogy, when we talk about these different levels of credentialing, et cetera, becoming a member of ICF is much like saying, okay, I got my 2-year associate degree. Earning the ACC credential is much like saying, okay, I got my degree. And the PCC credential, that is much like saying, okay, I got my master's degree. So it gives you a little bit of a sense of how that works. What we find in practical experience, because a lot of people are asking, should I go ACC? Should I go PCC? Which one makes sense? Here's what we find. A lot of people, when they first get started, will do the ACC credential because you can have a credential in a shorter period of time, given how many training hours and coaching experience hours are required. And then they'll continue on to the PCC. That can make a lot of sense because it gets you going and gets you on that path. The other piece that comes up is for many people, if you're doing life coaching, career coaching, wellness coaching, your clients are private pay individuals, often the ACC gets you there in terms of what they expect or want or even know about. When you're coaching in the corporate space and you're coaching senior leaders and executives, it is more common that they're asking for somebody with the PCC credential. If that is your long-term goal and game plan, then yes, chances are you'll want to continue on and earn the PCC. What it looks like. So at the Center for Coaching Certification, again, we're all about giving you choices. You can start with the Certified Professional Coach program. That's your first 30 hours. Now, the certification at the end of that is significant for a couple of reasons. First off, we have a lot of people that want coaching skills. They want a basic certification in coaching because of whatever their other role is. For example, if you happen to be in HR or talent development, or if you happen to be a senior leader, you're expected to have those coaching skills. And while you aren't interested necessarily in becoming a coach as a profession, having those coaching skills makes a huge difference in terms of your opportunities where you're at now. So that first 30-hour program is solid for you in that way. For somebody who is on the journey to becoming a coach, the advantage of having a certification at that level is because once you are enrolled in at least 60 hours of training, so yes, it means you have to be enrolled in the next class, you can join ICF because that requirement for the 60 hours, what they're saying is you either have to have completed it or be enrolled to complete it. What that means to you is you finish the Certified Professional Coach program, you are continuing on, and you have some credibility. You can say, yes, I'm a certified professional coach and I'm a member of ICF. So credibility, putting yourself out there and starting to work with clients. We do recommend whatever path you're going to go on, that as soon as you finish that CPC program, you start coaching and start working with clients. And that's true whether you're going for the ACC or you're going for the PCC. You want to get started with that. After the Certified Professional Coach class, you continue on to the Certified Master Coach class. If you decide you're going to go for the ACC credential while you're beginning to get coaching, etc., you also will be in the mentor coaching program. And again, very specific parameters. We're going to get you there. We're going to walk you all the way through the process and what it takes and help you in terms of the application, etc. During that process, you have to submit a recording of yourself coaching one of your clients, and we'll do that assessing for you. And as long as you pass at that ACC level, you're good to go. If it doesn't pass, then you'll do another recording, and it's okay because we're going to walk you through it. Hey, here's where you're hitting the mark. Here's where you got some room to improve or things to adjust so that the next time you are successful. Although I will say the success rate is very, very high. So I'm sure you'll be fine. Then once you have completed the training hours, the mentor coaching hours, you've been assessed, and you have logged the hours of experience, you can apply to ICF for the credential. They'll invite you to take the exam. And when you pass that exam successfully, that is how you earn the ACC credential. If you then decide to continue on to the PCC credential, you can do that. You simply come in here and you continue adding to your coaching hours. You take the next class, which is the Certified Advanced Coach. Now, great way of explaining this. When you go to college, the first couple of years are all your core foundational courses, all your requirements, etc. Then by the time you hit your junior, senior year, you're declaring your major and what it is. Well, the Certified Advanced Coach is much like that. That is when you're really digging in and honing in on how you want to define the type of coaching you're doing, your niche area, if you will. So you have the Certified Advanced Coach, then we have the Coaching Experience class, the mentor coaching. Now, here's something that you have a choice on. If you do the ACC and then you decide to continue on to the PCC, the only difference in the mentor coaching is that you have to have 2 recordings of yourself coaching it. So what we say to people is you have an option. When you're doing your ACC credential, you can get 2 recordings and have them pass at the PCC level. Then when you continue on and take the next 2 classes, it saves you from repeating the mentor coaching. So we're going to give you that option. We want to make it effective and efficient for you. When you complete everything here as is required, you can apply to ICF for the credential. They'll invite you to take the exam. And when you pass that, that is how you earn your PCC credential. Hopefully that illustration gives you really good clarity in terms of what it is, how it works, etc. There is one more graph to show you here. I'm going to take the first one you saw, and I'm going to overlay the classes that you just saw in that second one. So the Certified Professional Coach here is that half step to membership. When you combine it with the Certified Master Coach, then you're a member. The ACC credential combines 3 of the programs: the Certified Professional Coach, the Certified Master Coach, and the Mentor Coaching. For the PCC credential, it's all 5 programs: Professional Coach, Master Coach, Advanced Coach, Coaching Experience, and the Mentor Coaching. The reason we're emphasizing these steps is back to that comment that you have to have the PCC credential before you can even go after the MCC. So we're going to focus on getting there. All right. This is going to give you all the price points. It'd be great to say, hey, this is easy. It's a no-brainer. And I get it. It takes time and it takes money. So let's really boil it down for you. There are 2 approaches to the classes. One is what we call the a la carte, where you can take 1 class at a time. The advantage to that approach for many people is it means that you can manage your budget, your time, how much you're committing at any one point in time. To do that, look at the rows in this grid. So you start with the Certified Professional Coach class, then you go on and add the Certified Master Coach class, and you can take these 1 at a time. You go on and you do the mentor coaching. That gets you to the ACC. If you're going to do the PCC, then of course you're continuing on and adding the next 2 classes, and you have that option. The alternative, if you know, hey, I want to get to ACC or PCC and you want the cost savings, what you can do then is look at the columns, because the columns are set up to get you to level 1 or to level 2. Basically, what they're doing is bundling the programs that are required for each of those credentials. It does give you a cost savings. So if you bundle the 3 programs for the ACC level, you're going to save. And if you bundle the 5 programs for the PCC level, you're going to save. So you can do it a la carte and manage how much you're investing as you go. You can do it in a bundle, work with one cohort as you go through. Hopefully that makes it easy as possible in terms of giving you options and ways to go. What's important to note is whichever route you take, it all supports you moving toward a credential with ICF. Okay. I think we're covering everything. I'm just watching the question box and the chat box, see if there's anything else to address. All right, moving into some statistics and insights. PricewaterhouseCoopers cites coaching as the world's second fastest growing sector. First is IT. That's pretty obvious. It's a given on that one. That we're second is phenomenal and very exciting. I love this quote from Forbes magazine. It's pretty bold. They said, do you have a coach? If not, you could be limiting your career success. Let's dig into that further. Very specifically, Amoco, which is now part of British Petroleum, looked at coaching over a 10-year period of time. Love the longevity of that study. And here's what they found. The people that had a coach demonstrated improved performance, increased ratings of potential for advancement, and 50% higher average salary increases. Of course, that makes a difference in your career. And it goes further. The people who had the coach attributed their successes, their results, to the coaching they received. That says a lot about the power of coaching and how it really serves people and makes a difference. And of course, inherent in that is as you're developing people in an organization, you're adding value in that organization. Dennison Consulting cites coaching as a tool of choice for organizational development for leaders and emerging leaders. So what are the reasons companies hire coaches? Very specifically, Harvard Business Review looked at it, and they said 48% of the time it is to develop high potentials or facilitate transitions. 26% is to act as a sounding board. We see that most often when you're working with somebody in the C-suite, the highest level executives, because bottom line, they're moving beyond, hey, help me figure out my action steps. This is more about challenging their thinking and expanding their thinking, truly supporting them at an advanced level. Now, 12% of the time, coaches are engaged to address the derailing behavior. It used to be people thought, oh, well, getting a coach is like a punishment. It's because something's wrong. Let's look at this for a second. A coach is an investment, a big investment. So if a company is investing in a coach, they want that person to be successful. They want to support them achieving what it is the company wants. So that addressing a derailing behavior, it's a good thing, actually. Now, interestingly enough, when Harvard did this study, here's what they found. 76% of the time, personal issues get addressed. This actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm guessing it might even be a higher number than that. The bottom line is whatever people have going on at home, whatever else is happening in their life or their world, it does affect them. When they have an opportunity to address that, it means that when they are at work, they can stay focused and engaged, and it supports them moving forward effectively. Now, when individuals engage with a coach, what's their motivation or their reason? The research tells us the top reasons individuals want to work with a coach is to establish and achieve goals for their own self-awareness, confidence. Confidence is a big one. And I'm sure you can imagine, look around you, look at people around you. When people are confident, it makes a difference in how effective they are. Improving communication skills is high on the list, enhancing emotional intelligence, creating that healthy work-life schedule, advancing their career, leadership development, problem-solving skills and decision-making, and increasing their resilience and adaptability. Now, for individuals, sometimes the company is paying for the coach, and sometimes they're doing it themselves. These are their primary motivators for engaging with the coach. Fortune magazine put this out, and I love just put it out there. Business coaching, and it is very US centric. I do realize we have people outside of the US here as well. Here's what they said. is attracting America's top CEOs because, put simply, business coaching works. The average return on investment is 600%. It's phenomenal. There isn't anything they can invest in to give them a 600% return on investment. So love that number. The research is going to back it up. There are a lot of different studies out there. One of the very commonly cited ones comes from Metrics Global. And here's what they found. Coaching produced a 529% ROI, plus when they added in the financial benefits from employee retention, that ROI jumped to 788%. Wow, that's a huge impact. A completely different way of looking at it is they said, okay, let's look at productivity. Let's look at training. Training is a common go-to in organizations, and it increased productivity 22.4%. Then, when you add coaching in addition to the training, the productivity gain is nearly 4 times. It's 88%. Again, phenomenal. And this comes from public personnel management. When you look at this next study, it certainly makes sense. Xerox Corporation said, in the absence of follow-up coaching, 87% of the skills change brought about by training or development programs is lost. What? In other words, when organizations do training and development, if they don't do follow-up coaching, they lose most of what they gained. So of course that coaching is going to make sense for them. Now, when people select a coach, how do they decide who they want as their coach? And here's the research. Experience in a similar setting. In other words, they want to know you understand their world. It doesn't mean you've had the same job. It means you've worked in or around that environment and that space. So, for example, if someone is the CEO of a Fortune 100 company, they're probably not going to hire a high school student to be their coach because that person's not going to understand their world. They want to know you understand that world. Now, that experience, you bring that to the table. You've already got that. When you think about doing coach training, it's the second thing they're looking for that you're going to get in coach training. And that's a clear methodology, a very specific process or options on process. And by the way, yes, by the time you go through and earn one of those credentials, you're going to have several different processes that you can play with and adjust based on who the client is. They want to know you have a clear methodology. So let's dig into understanding how that coaching relationship is developed. And we're doing that by comparing building a coaching relationship with building a staircase. Very specifically, if you're going to build the staircase, the first thing you do is put your framework in place. If you're going to build a coaching relationship, similarly, first thing you're going to do is put your framework in place. What is the framework for a coaching relationship? It starts with your training. This is true of any profession. Whatever career you move into, you have very specific education, training, onboarding, etc., to learn to do what you do. Of course, that applies to coaching as well. And through that training, you're developing your competency for doing the work. And of course, the ethics. What's really fun about coaching ethics is most people that come to coach training really do believe in ethics and are very much used to working with a code of ethics. In coaching, that code of ethics goes next level, and it's phenomenal. You'll love the additional components to it. Okay, you get your foundation in place, you get your framework in place. Now you can start building the coaching relationship or add steps to your staircase. So the first step is the agreement. And this in and of itself could be considered a process. So initially it's a conversation. What is coaching? What isn't coaching? How it works, etc. When you are going to move forward with a coaching relationship, you have a formal agreement. What the coaching is, what the different roles and responsibilities are, the logistics, etc. Then every single coaching session, you're getting an agreement as to what the client wants to accomplish in that session, what they want to talk about to accomplish that, and what that means to them. When you have the agreement in place, you're ready for the next step of understanding. It is incumbent on the coach to understand the client. Who are they? How do they think? How do they process? How do they function? What is their culture? What is their context? Really being aware of how who they are plays into their perceptions and how they're communicating things. It is important that the coach understands what the client wants and what works for them in terms of how to move forward. With that understanding in place, you really are set up to develop rapport. Think about it. When a client knows, okay, you cared enough about what you're doing to get trained, you've developed your competency, you've got your code of ethics, you're accountable to it, you shared it with me, we've got our agreement for how our relationship works, you really understand me and get me. That's huge in having that rapport. And rapport is the number one indicator of success in a coaching relationship. With that rapport, it truly opens up the communication. It means the client is in a safe, comfortable place to be open, to really explore and think deeply and consider all the different possibilities and options. It means the coach is listening at a whole new level. You're listening for themes and patterns over time. You're listening for when different things they say seem connected, and maybe they haven't connected the dots themselves yet. Listening and coaching goes completely beyond what is normal and typical. Then it actually supports the exploration. The coach is asking the client questions and they're considering their possibilities, their options, their potential barriers, their resources, how they want to move forward. And through that process, the client develops their strategies for how they're going to move to the doorway called success. And success is defined by the client. Ideally, this gives you a sense of how you develop the relationship with someone else. Now let's move into the actual process. It is a common best practice in coaching to have what we call an introductory session. It's a mini coaching session. It's a chance for the coach and the client to get to know each other and see, hey, is this going to be effective? Is this relationship going to serve this person? Do we click? Is it right for them? When you do that introductory session, you say, yeah, okay, this works. This is going to serve the client. We're going to move forward. Your next step is an intake process. At the Center for Coaching Certification, we have got a game-changing intake process. It starts with an opening session. We're going to walk you through exactly what to do and how to do it. It completely sets you up in terms of the engagement, in terms of understanding your client, supporting their success for the long term, etc. That intake process is continued in the next session, which provides the client with an incredible tool so they stay focused on what they want, fully engaged. It builds their confidence. It supports them being positive and proactive. On an ongoing basis in that relationship, it is the client who is going to prioritize what they want to work on. They're developing their strategies and their action steps through that process of exploration. And of course, very important, to take time to look at progress and success along the way. That supports to keep the client motivated and going with what they're doing. So recognizing it, acknowledging it. Then, on average, a coaching relationship is going to last 12 months. That's what the research tells us. So yes, there are some that are shorter. There are some that are longer. The range is across the board. Whatever it is, when the client is complete, because that's how many sessions that they were allowed it, because they achieve what they wanted to achieve through coaching, whatever it is. What you're going to do as coach is make sure that you're setting the client up for the long term. How will they maintain the progress they've achieved during coaching and continue to build on it after coaching? And we do what we call a closing session. And while we call it a closing session, we do, of course, keep the door open for the future. Clients often come back months later, years later, whatever it is. In that closing session, you're commonly reviewing what they have accomplished, truly identifying different things that worked, that helps them, again, revisit those learnings and insights and carry them forward. You're setting them up as you're closing that engagement. So very, very simple process illustrated here. There are additional elements to it. And of course, as you move through coach training, you'll be adding those components. Okay, let's dig into the pros and cons of certification. First off, the overwhelming majority of coaches agree that their clients expect them to be certified or credentialed. There are some where clients simply aren't aware of it yet. When clients are aware of coaching and how it works, that is a very common expectation. An increasing proportion of coaches hold a credential. So very specifically in 2022, 85% had a credential or a certification. That was up from 69% just 7 years earlier and 74% just 3 years earlier. So the increase continues and it's happening. I'm looking forward to when they do the next survey and give us more research on that, what the numbers are now, because I think they're growing. In terms of the certification, 85% of coaches holding a certification and 99% of the clients are satisfied with their coaching experience. It's phenomenal. You want that level. Actually, you want higher. You want 100%. All right. Pure pros and cons. Love to say it's all pros. For me personally, I got it. There is so many pros. I'm a better mother. I'm a better grandmother. I'm a better friend and colleague and family member because of learning coaching. It goes way beyond our application in the workplace. So in terms of cons, as much as I'd like to say there aren't any, there are two things that get in the way: time and money. If it weren't for the time involved and the money involved, coach training is an absolute no-brainer because of the value and the benefits that come out of it. On the pro side, specifically, when you do invest in yourself, you invest the time and the money, it absolutely supports career advancement. Whether you are in a different career and building the coaching skills to advance yourself in that career or in a coaching career, it's going to help you advance your career. It also is a wonderful business development opportunity. So some people like to move into coaching as an after career, as a side gig, etc. Many are doing this as a business. Often it's combined with other services such as training, facilitation, or consulting. And adding that coaching element is a real business development opportunity. All right, let's dig into some of the statistics. First off, pretty challenging for you insofar as there are 931 schools that are accredited by ICF and offer the level 1 certification. That is a lot of different schools. How do you even know where to start, much less which one to pick? It's challenging. There are 676 of them offering level 2. And 61 offer level 3. There are 1,894 schools doing continuing ed and 123 with the advanced accreditation in team coaching. You have a lot of different choices out there. All right. How do you know what to pick? The first thing I'm going to do is share with you what people tell us. This is the reason they came to the Center for Coaching Certification. Very high on the list is the credibility. Given how many different schools out there, this is a tough one. How do you know if the school is credible or not? So we're going to give you some insight on that and walk through that information. It is also because they know the tools they'll receive after as they go through, and then afterwards, all the extra tools. We love bragging about how much we give you above and beyond the actual training. So there's a lot available to you. The ongoing support, for example, the Q&A calls we do every month, the ways we work to create opportunities for you, etc. So we have people that graduated years ago and are still working with other colleagues from their programs or newer colleagues from classes after they were there. They're still engaging in our online discussion groups, in our Q&A calls, etc. So that's available to you. Professional development, very specifically, something unique about the Center for Coaching certification is when you complete a training program, the certification gives you CEUs, also known as professional development units, because of an additional accreditation we have, which means we have HR professionals, talent development, financial planners, attorneys, nurses, counselors, and therapists that use our training hours as continuing ed for other designations. So that's a huge benefit. We also have a lot of people that truly value their own personal development and growth and love what they gain going through the coach training. The assessment dashboard, that's one of the many tools we give you. So when you graduate, we're going to give you a dashboard from which you can give dozens of different assessments immediately. You have immediate access. You can use them right away at wholesale pricing. Now, people often say, well, don't I have to get certified? Actually, no, because giving someone the assessment is simply sending them the link. They take it online and you get the report. And we talk about how you coach them when they have that report. Now, if somebody wants to get certified in that assessment, you can. It's actually discounted on that dashboard, just as the assessments themselves are at wholesale. So it's a real benefit. And if you're asking your organization to fund your coach training, it's a huge payback, because if they use assessments, that dashboard can earn back the cost of your training. So it's a great opportunity. All right, let's talk more on how do you figure out what to look for. First off, the single most important thing you can do is look for these two logos, the one or the two. The one is to get to the ACC level. The two is to get to the PCC level. These show you that the school has been accredited by the International Coaching Federation. What you want to do is go to their website. You want to make sure it's there. You can also go to ICF's website and type in the name of the school and verify that it's listed there, because every once in a while somebody uses that logo who shouldn't. So you look for those logos, make sure it's accredited by ICF. The IACET logo that you'll see on our website next to the ICF logos, IACET is the International Association for Continuing Education and Training. That is who accredits us to be able to give the continuing education hours that can be used in so many different professions and a lot of colleges and universities as well. In addition to that, again, this is very unique. I don't know of any other coach training school that does this. We're also accredited by AICI. So it's an additional accreditation. It makes a difference for people, obviously, who have a designation through AICI, and it tells you, yes, okay, we're not just going through the ICF rigor. We're also going through the IACET rigor and the AICI rigor. So it tells you a lot in terms of the school and the program. The participants, to me, this is a huge value add, because you get so much from the other people in the class with you. The people that come to the coach training programs with us have education, they have experience, they have so much insight and perspective. It's phenomenal. And it's a true value add in classroom discussions. So we get people from ATD, the Association for Talent Development, the Society for Human Resource Management, the Human Resource Certification Institute, the Financial Planners Association, the National Small Business Administration, of course, from AICI, from ICF, because people get the value of what we're doing, from IACET, they understand what that accreditation means. A lot of mental health professionals, a lot of consultants, a lot of project managers. Ultimately, it's people who truly have a passion for empowering others and having that positive impact in other people's life, both professionally and personally. Makes for great class, great discussions. Now, whatever program you go to, it is essential that it is focused on developing ICF's core competencies. There are 8 core competencies. These are well researched and established. The first area of competency is called foundation, and it includes two of them: demonstrates ethical practice and embodies a coaching mindset. Then we have co-creating the relationship, with establishes and maintains agreements, cultivates trust and safety, and maintains presence. With communicating effectively, you've got listens actively and evokes awareness. And with cultivating learning and growth, facilitates client growth. So these competencies are embedded throughout the program. Everything's designed to develop your coaching competencies and support your efficacy as a coach and your success on the journey to earning a credential. So who benefits from coaching certification? Yeah, back to, I really believe we all do. Leaders, trainers, educators, consultants, managers, human resource professionals, project managers, service providers, business owners. Across the board, people benefit from that coaching certification. How do we know that? Can we really say that? Look at some of the research out there. So Gallup said 86% of employees think their bosses are uninspiring. Okay. What's their level of engagement and productivity when that's what they're thinking? So, of course, when you have a boss that develops the coaching skills, it is going to make a difference, because now they're going to have a boss that is inspiring and they're going to engage more. They're going to be more productive. Harvard Business Review called it out very bluntly. Coaching is integral to the fabric of a learning culture. And I love this, a skill that good managers at all levels need to develop and deploy. So, skill development opportunities in coach training. Absolutely, you elevate your communication skills. You'll take your listening to the next level, your clear, direct, respectful language, the assertiveness, and your questioning. Coaching questions are completely different than any other type of question. You'll develop your people skills at a whole new level, recognizing different personal styles, and then knowing how to flex to people based on who they are. And of course, goal setting. It's fascinating. The way you define a goal makes a difference in terms of actually achieving that goal. So the process that supports creating the change and motivates the follow through. In terms of business opportunities, I know a few people had questions here. So here's what the research tells us. The hourly cost for coaching, and I'm giving you US dollars. Please keep in mind, most of the time it translates. You just translate the currency to your own currency. If you're looking for something equivalent, $100 an hour is a beginning point for paying, for example, somebody to do therapy, etc. So that's your hourly cost. The median rate is $500 an hour. The average is $244. It is projected that by 2027, 125.1 billion US dollars is going to be spent on coaching. Let's break it down even further in terms of the credentials. Currently, ICF has 63,175 member coaches. Of those, 28,857 are at the ACC credential level, 25,711 at the PCC credential level. There are only 2,569 of us at the MCC level, so a lot fewer people there. 804 have the advanced certification in team coaching. So that gives you an idea in terms of, for yourself, it could be an add-on service as a business. It could be part-time. It could be full-time. There's so much potential there. All right. In terms of the programs themselves, the very first 30-hour program is called the Certified Professional Coach. It starts with a series of classes. So the first one is about coaching. We talk about what coaching is and is not. There's a lot of common misunderstanding around that. And we also start diving into the competencies. Then we do the class on ethics, and it's actually a super fun class. Sometimes people think, oh, that's going to be boring. No, it's fun. We have a good time with it. We'll talk about different scenarios, what ifs, etc. So it's a really fun class. Understanding your client. when we do this class, we ask everybody, please bring your sense of humor, because here's what you're going to gain in that class. We're going to talk about different personal styles. And hey, we're all human. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. So recognizing different personal styles and knowing how to adjust to someone based on what their style is and who they are. So it's a really fabulous tool that you can start using immediately just in your random conversations, that awareness of other and how to flex. Then we do the class on communication. And in there, we talk about listening and taking that listening to the next level. We're also going to move into language and how to say what you say in a way that is clear, that is direct, and that is respectful of everyone involved. And we're going to teach questions, how to formulate coaching questions. In and of itself, that is gold. Ways to formulate those questions. Then we move into focus and motivation. We'll talk about how to notice and work with different ways people learn and process information and how that plays out in what they do. We'll talk about their language patterns, recognizing those and knowing when to explore further based on that language pattern. And we'll also talk about thought patterns. They help with understanding, they help with supporting the client, creating those shifts that they want. You'll have homework assignments with these classes. So with the first couple of classes, it's doing additional reading the competencies, reading the code of ethics, answering questions, etc. After that, it moves into really more practice, where you take the techniques that are discussed in class and you practice them in your daily interactions and you write about what happens. When that segment of the program is complete, we do a group session. You get to ask questions, you get to explore whatever you want to explore. We can also give you information on what's coming next, etc. So a lot of good information there. And then we move into the coaching practicum. And this is what gets great. It's a chance for you to coach one of the colleagues in the class, for someone else to coach you, and for you to observe coaching. So it's hands-on, real-time, fabulous experience. At the completion of that, there is a case study. We're going to walk you through it and flat out give you the answer, tell you exactly where to find it, your materials. That serves as your final. It's also, to me, a great way to review everything you've been learning. After you complete your certification, yes, there is access to the monthly Q&A call. There's access to our online discussion group for graduates. In addition to that, we give you a login page on the website with dozens of additional tools. And amongst them, there's a recording on the business of coaching and a recording on marketing yourself as a coach, plus recorded coaching sessions that you can listen to. Continuing education is available to you when ICF has a ton of free classes. There's a small fee if you're not a member yet. And then we also do different offerings for that. The Certified Master Coach program, the classes include group and team coaching. And we do that class first because during the program, we're also going to include group coaching in the practicum portion of it, in addition to the individual coaching. Then the classes are a deeper dive into your competencies in the application. So there's one on ethics and agreements, coaching process, people in communication, and creating change with confidence. There's also a class on time and money. Think about it. Just as those are the big barriers for investing in yourself for coach training, time and money are factors for so many decisions people are making. They come up a lot. It's important that as coaches, we're aware of them as influencing factors. And we also talk about the reality there are additional influencing factors. There is a final debrief that actually will come after the coaching practicum. So you'll have pre-work and report assignments as you move through the program. We give you questions that you're responding to. For the practicum itself, as mentioned, it includes doing the group coaching. So the way that'll work is there's 6 sessions that are scheduled. For one of them, you'll be a coach or a co-coach, and for the others, you'll be part of the group for that coaching. We also have the individual coaching, and we do a different process with this one. You'll be involved in interviewing classmates and being interviewed by classmates. So everybody's involved in choosing who their coach is. And then you'll have those one-on-one coaching sessions. At the end of this program, there's a final report where you're writing about a coaching experience that serves as your final for the program. For the Certified Advanced Coach program, the classes start with coach competencies and strengths. So we're now going beyond the competencies and looking at how certain strengths you have integrate with those competencies based on the type of coaching you're doing. So really getting specific in terms of your coaching niche. Then engaging and understanding your clients. And there are nuances depending on the type of coaching you're doing. We talk about the coaching relationship, client priority management, and different ways that's handled. We get into discussing the client's future and how you're setting them up. And of course, we talk about challenges and trends for you as coach as well. There's a debrief again after the practicum. With this class, the pre-work ahead of classes will give you reading. We provide all the reading materials for you, and we also give you homework assignments. The coaching practicum, again, will involve group coaching, a little bit different approach to it, so you'll experience that, and then trainer supervised individual coaching, and the way the sessions are scheduled is going to be different again. So you're, again, playing with the logistics and the process. There's a final report that serves as your final for the program. The coaching experience class is really about practice, taking your coaching to that next level. So there's a webinar to review the competencies and how they get evaluated. We're also going to talk group and team coaching, and in particular, we're going to go through the team coaching competencies. You have 6 group sessions. You also have 5 individual sessions as a coach, 5 as a client, and 5 observing coaching. And then we do a debrief. For the mentor coaching, it starts with 5 90-minute group sessions. And during those 90-minute group sessions, so the first one, there's some explanation to help you understand, okay, what is this mentor coaching? How does it work? What are the requirements, expectations on this part of the journey for ICF, et cetera? And then we're also going to start talking about some of the competencies in particular and how those apply in the work you're doing as a coach. Then in groups 2, 3, and 4, we do a deep dive into the competencies and how they're evaluated, what that means, what that looks like when you're coaching. And we do practice coaching with each other, mini coaching sessions. You'll then have, my apologies, group 5 is going to be, amongst other things, talking about that process for applying for a credential. We're also going to do exam prep to get you ready to take that exam. You'll have 3 individual sessions. During those individual sessions, your number one priority is having 1 recording for ACC, 2 recording if you're doing PCC that get assessed and pass. You get to submit up to 3 recordings. So your goal is having those recordings that pass. We also have a 360. This is proprietary to us. It's a 360 of your coaching competencies. Super helpful in knowing where you're strong and other areas to focus on. So really good process. In terms of resources that are included with the program, all of your class materials are included, everything. Your coach login, when you complete a program, you get that login on the website. The assessment dashboard that I was mentioning earlier, so you can give assessments if you want to. We work really hard on your opportunities as a coach. So if you want to get in front of a new audience, you can guest blog, you can guest present a webinar, you can get published in our book. You can also be a guest on the podcast that we do. We have an online searchable directory for our graduates called Find a Certified Coach. And then we also are a coaching provider. Coach 123 contracts with organizations to provide coaches for their employees. And the coaches that we're providing are graduates of the Center for Coaching Certification. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you. All right, what's your next step at this point? First off, I mentioned at the beginning, you're investing your time here. We want to give back to you. You can have a free 30-minute session. Some people want to use it for coaching. If you want to use it for additional questions or to explore your options or how to look at things, happy to do that too. So the way that'll work is when we finish this, I'm going to put the recording on our YouTube channel. And once that's available on the YouTube channel, I'll be sending an email to everyone who registered for today. And you'll be able to access that recording there. And you can just respond to that email and say, hey, I'm interested in that 30-minute session. And I will reply back with a link to my calendar. You can pick a date and time convenient for you, and we can have that conversation. The application itself on the website is free to fill out. What's nice about it, it has you checking boxes on requirements and putting in information about, number one, your interest in coaching, and number two, about yourself. That helps us get to know you. It really is helpful when we move into those training programs. Then when you know which class you want to take, the way to hold your place in a class, you do the application and then you pay the registration on it. That's how you hold the spot in class. So those are the steps to move forward, make it happen for you. I do want to say thank you very much for your time, for your interest. I'm excited to have you here, and I'm excited to welcome you to the community. Feel free to reach out if you have additional questions. And I did promise, we've got a couple of minutes left so we can do this. I promise that we can go to the website and navigate together to a couple of things. So I am going to set that up, and I'm going to stop share here. And then what I have to do is bring up the website. Excuse me just a moment while I get that going so that I can share it with you, and we'll go navigate to a couple of things together. So here we go. Here's the website. First off, the infographics that I showed you early on explaining all the requirements and the process. If you click that How to Become a Coach button, on this page, you will see the infographics with written explanations. So you can come and check this out, read further, get all the details, all available to you. So now if I go back to the home page, and again, it's that little How to Become a Coach button right on that home page, right over the image there. For the coach training itself, if you put your cursor over the words coach training, if you know you want a cohort to earn the level 1 ACC credential or the level 2 PCC credential, simply put your cursor over those words and it'll give you a drop-down menu so you can access an overview of the program, which will give you all the different classes and what's covered in them, as well as learning outcomes for the program. You can also look at schedule options for the different cohorts and check that out. And then for additional coach education, the overview is on the a la carte path to credentialing cohorts. And then if you want to sign up for an individual class, schedules of the individual classes are here, and you can check those out. The application can also be accessed from this drop-down menu. So let's do an example. Let's pretend for a minute somebody wants to do, okay, I'm going to get started with the level 1. I'm going to do the ACC. They can click here and say, okay, I'll look at this one that's starting pretty quick here. And you can click it for the complete schedule and see everything that's there. If you say, oh, I'm interested in an overview, you can click on that and it will give you the overview of the programs as well as all of the learning outcomes. So all of the information is available to you. Feel free just to poke around. On the resources tab, we do have FAQs. You can see information on the assessment dashboard. You won't actually be able to log into the dashboard until you graduate. At the same time, it'll start to give you an idea of what's there, and I'm happy to show people more if you want to see it. You can access different monthly webinars that are available to you. We also put recommended reading up, and you can check that out, link to different articles, access the white papers. If you want to learn more about the Center for Coaching Certification, you can read about our story, you can read the mission, vision, ethics, core values are from ICF. We also have information on everybody on the team. So if you want to get to know a trainer, that kind of thing, you can come to this page. And when you go there, actually, I'll do a quick example for you. So here are different trainers. And if you say, okay, I'm looking at a class that Kathy's going to teach, or I'm looking at a class that Elena's going to teach, you can click on that trainer. Here's Akshita, and see information about them. Many of them have done little welcome videos, so you can watch those too. Do come check out the testimonials. If you want to just stay on this page, you can scroll down and you'll see quite a few that are available to you. Above and beyond that, I love it if you just click right here and say, read what our graduates have to say. This will take you to the website for the Society for Human Resource Management. And the reason this is great is because when somebody submits a review there, they actually verify that that is an actual student and graduate. So I think that's valuable to know. And you can check out all the different testimonials that are there and on that website. All right, back to our site. You have access to the podcast. There's a new podcast every week. We do put out, by the way, blog articles every week that you can access. An easy way, by the way. So on the right-hand side, you can join us on LinkedIn, on Instagram. We have the YouTube channel. You've got access right here to the blog and access here to the podcast. So lots of great information on an ongoing basis for you. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. The login pages are going to be as you complete different programs, gaining that login to all those resources there. So hopefully that covered it and made it a little bit easier on navigating the website. Checking myself. Okay, so from what I'm seeing in the chat box, it looks like we're good. I'm not seeing any new questions. I'm just seeing comments. So thank you. Glad this was helpful. Glad it was of interest to you. Really appreciate some of those comments on that. And we do look forward to welcoming you to the community. Make it a great one.